Today on Showreel, Brad Pitt stars in the movie Babel. The controversial Dixie chicks talk about their music. Fashion house Gucci goes 70s glam rock in Milan. And Cirque du Soleil does the Beatles. So let us take you through all there is to know with Showreel.
But first, here's some movie trivia you may not be aware of. Australian Oscar winner Cate Blancett has been in 5 movies where the title contains the name of the character she plays. The first were in 1997's Oscar and Lucinda and Thank God He Met Lizzie. She played the Queen in 1998's Elizabeth and a young Scot in 2001's Charlotte Grey, before portraying a slain journalist in 2003's Veronica Guerin.
In the remake of horror film The Omen, the role of Katherine Thorn was originally offered to Rachel Weisz, who declined because she was pregnant at the time. Other actresses considered for the part were Laura Linney, Hope Davis and Alicia Witt, before Mia Farrow recommended Julia Stiles, who finally got the part.
Sin City director Robert Rodriguez originally envisioned Johnny Depp in the role of Jackie Boy, but because of prior commitments, Depp could not play the part. While at the Oscars, Rodriguez saw Benicio del Toro with long hair and said that he was looking at Jackie Boy. He told del Toro not to cut his hair and mailed him the comic book and a copy of the short, The Customer Is Always Right. Del Toro immediately signed on.
Like many other high fashion companies, the House of Gucci was founded in 1881 and began as a small family-owned saddlery selling leather bags to horsemen. Fast forward to the 1960s when Hollywood stars such as Grace Kelly, Peter Sellers, Jackie Onassis and Audrey Hepburn made the name synonymous with glamour and chic, a trait that's lasted well into the 21st century.
The Brad Pitt-Cate Blancett film Babel takes its name from the biblical story of people seeking to build a tower to God, who are then punished by being divided through language. Set in 3 countries and in 4 languages, Babel explores the complexity of global communication, and it also tackles terrorism, immigration and suicide.
Never gonna forgive me, are you?
Blancett describes her pleasure at working with Pitt.
No, I loved it. I think he's remarkable, and you know, for someone who is under such intense scrutiny constantly, he's incredibly. He's a great human being, a great spirit, a very blithe spirit.
Director Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu has already worked with some of Hollywood's most respected actors. 21 Grams brought Academy Award nominations for Naomi Watts and Benicio del Toro. However, in casting Brad Pitt, he wanted to challenge the audience's perception of him as a Hollywood star.
Let me know when you're ready to argue.
You know, it's another kind of challenge that I want to add to the film, that to have somebody that I consider a very icon of the United States, and it's a face, and it's somebody who really you can see in the screen, you know, a lot of time. He has this star power. But my goal was how I can get rid of the celebrity of Brad Pitt and being able to transform him in a human being, and that people can forget that they are seeing Brad Pitt, that they are. And I thought that if that can happen, then I will succeed. And I hope that happened, you know.
She's in
Are you
charge.
drunk, sir?
Me?
Are you intoxicated?
No.
Sir, I'm going to ask you to step out the vehicle.
Why?
I need you to step out the vehicle.
Why?
I need you to step out the vehicle.
Babel was also up for the Palme d'Or Award at Cannes, but lost out to a Ken Loach production.
Don't make me ask you again.
Oh, I feel for Alejandro because it's, you know, it's that thing of, you know, it's like chalk and cheese. You look at, you know, Almodovar's film and Sofia Coppola's film, and they're very, very different, you know, films. And you just want the film to breathe and live in its own thing, rather than to have this weight of expectation.
Blancett and Pitt play a couple fleeing a personal tragedy by taking a trip to faraway North Africa. But their star power does not overshadow the rest of the cast, and every storyline has equal weight. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you take the time to check out Babel.
In our hotspot this episode is Brad Pitt, who's appeared in 3 movies with the number 7 in the title: Seven, 7 Years in Tibet, and Sinbad, Legend of the Seven Seas.
The Dixie Chicks are mad as hell, according to their single, Not Ready to Make Nice. It seems the Chicks still haven't got over being blacklisted by country music after Natalie Maines told a London audience in 2003, referring to the war in Iraq, "Just so you know, we're ashamed the President of the United States is from Texas." The band, the top-selling female group of all time, soon found their records being burned in parts of America, while many country music stations refused to play Chicks songs, and some country music channels stopped airing their videos. It was the same with Not Ready to Make Nice, a veiled statement that said the Chicks didn't care. Emily Robertson explained.
It's not so much spoken to somebody or at somebody. It's really just the frustration of, you know, everything that culminated after what Natalie said, what she said. But, you know, the words "not ready to make nice" is more a comment on, you know, people tell you what you can do to make it okay with them, and that's not where we feel what we feel comfortable doing. It has to be on our own terms, and so that's kind of where that phrase came from.
Made my bed and I sleep like a baby with no regrets, and I don't mind saying it's a sad, sad story when a mother will teach her daughter that she ought to hate a perfect stranger. And how in the world can the words that I said send somebody so over the edge that they'd write me a letter saying that I better shut up and sing or my life will be over.
Maines was so disgusted with the backlash that she doesn't listen to country music stations anymore, but she did hope for change.
People have a little bit more open minds to accept different opinions and people expressing that in music. There was just a lot of different factors when we said what we said, but I think it makes a difference that we were in country music.
The Chicks said, as a result, their album Taking the Long Way was not country. It's their most personal to date. For the first time, they wrote all of the songs, which are filled with lyrics based on the girls' own experiences. Not only do the Chicks sing about being blacklisted, but they also harmonise about infertility and small-town mentalities.
We listened to a lot of music from there, you know, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and Mamas and Papas, and the Eagles, and so I think those also kind of seeped in because those were the references we would go to for harmonies or arrangements and things like that.
Taking the Long Way and Not Ready to Make Nice were released worldwide through Sony BMG.
Forget, I'm not sure I could. They say time heals everything, but I'm still waiting.
Our Showreel Top 5 this episode looks at New Year's Eve films, and top of the list is Poseidon. Assault on Precinct 13 and Trading Places follow at 2 and 3, while Strange Days and End of Days round out the top 5.
If you've ever wanted to dive into the octopus's garden or meet a psychedelic Sgt. Pepper, the creators of Love, a Beatles-themed Cirque du Soleil performance, are offering a little help from their friends. The theatrical interpretation of some 130 songs and song fragments that debuted at the Mirage Hotel Casino in Las Vegas takes audiences through a dreamlike journey that tracks the Fab Four's career. Producers showed a glimpse of the journey, with aerial acrobatics and dancers in extravagant costumes, moving to such songs as Lady Madonna and Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
It's alright. Lucy in the Sky.
The show was the first major theatrical partnership for the Beatles record label Apple Corps Limited and Cirque du Soleil, a surrealist international circus troupe based in Montreal, Quebec, which performs 4 other shows on the Las Vegas Strip. In the early days of forming the show, original Beatles producer Sir George Martin and his son, Giles Martin, poured through hours of original and unheard tracks that have been archived at Abbey Road Studios. Many of the show's song treatments are subtle musical remixes that only a dedicated Beatles fan might discern. Cirque du Soleil has been described as the modern circus and focuses upon a storyline as well as amazing performances. Its performances combine elements of street performances, circus, opera, ballet and rock music. Acts include contortionists, jugglers, clowning and trapeze artists. Cirque du Soleil recruits acts from different world circuses, including from China and Russia, blending them into their own style.
Cult director Richard Linklater certainly gave everyone some food for thought with his film Fast Food Nation. Linklater, whose credits include Slacker, Before Sunset and School of Rock, created the film as an indictment of the fast food industry in the United States. Adapted from Eric Schlosser's acclaimed novel, Fast Food Nation is about the challenges that both Americans and immigrants face while searching for that American dream. The film brought together a wide range of actors to carry the book's point across, with Linklater assembling an ensemble cast which included one of his favourite actors, Ethan Hawke, as well as Greg Kinnear and Oscar-nominated actress Catalina Sandino Moreno.
Well, I know that's not true.
All the cast agreed to do the film for a minimum wage, such was their passion for the subject, and they all revealed they'd given up fast food after reading the book. Kinnear had this to say about his role.
I'm not the radical of this movie who thinks, wants to, burn down the city or anything. I just actually believe that the book is really worthy of some reflection, and I think that the movie hopefully will maybe cause people to have a discussion about it and maybe take some action. I mean, the truth is that I am hopeful. I don't have the same bleak outlook that the movie has a pretty bleak outlook. And I think that's good. It should have a bleak outlook. I'm a little hopeful, and at the end of the day, there's this pendulum that's swinging all the time, socially and in populations, and people make changes and industries are changed.
I don't waste
The script follows the parallel stories of 3 different groups of people as they individually seek a better future. Each of these stories explores the way in which the economic and cultural forces that have shaped modern America influence all their lives.
You're not still married. Stupid stupidity.
So if you've ever wondered just how much fast food can affect you, or you just want to check out the story, Fast Food Nation is a must-see.
Wow, that's a lot of big ones.
Yeah. Well, somewhere in Kansas City, someone will be eating these tomorrow night.
Fast Food Nation was released through Hanway Films.
It was every teenage fantasy. After enduring countless auditions, 5 young guys from across the US were chosen to be members of a boy band. They worked hard for reality TV fame. They were O-Town, and Ashley Parker Angel was right in the thick of it.
At a really young age, I had this opportunity to be a part of the original Making the Band, which first aired on ABC and then later on MTV. And at the time, it was a real breakthrough concept in music and television. Nobody had really done anything like that. It was before American Idol, before a lot of other shows that have since come out that are sort of like that show.
Years later, and the O-Town boys were young men living in nowhere central, long forgotten by record companies and fans alike. But their split second in the limelight has now been recaptured by Angel, who has again stretched his wings in search of chart glory with the album Soundtrack to Your Life. Angel wanted to be seen as a legitimate artist.
I got an amazing opportunity to do another show with MTV called There and Back, which basically followed my journey to try to, overcome the stereotype of having been in a boy band and really show this other side of myself to people. And it's been a lot of work, but it's also been really fulfilling and really rewarding.
Angel's lyrics were designed to reflect the personal changes in his life. A newlywed, he has a baby boy fittingly named Lyric. He described his new sound as rock, influenced by everyone from The Doors to The Police and Queen. Angel let us in on his musical history.
I grew up listening to, a lot of rock music. The way I actually first discovered music, before I even started listening to the radio, was that my dad had this like 60s and 70s record collection, and I would, take the records out and dust them off, and I discovered groups like The Doors and Queen and The Police, and it really it provided a lot of inspiration for me as I continued to grow older, and I've always loved that era of music.
Soundtrack to Your Life was released through Blackground Records.
The Breakup, starring Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn, is a romantic comedy from Down With Love director Peyton Reed. It follows two romantics who live together in a condominium. When they break up and fight over who gets to stay in the apartment, hilarity ensues.
What?
What happened?
We just broke up.
You could stay with me. You think I'm gonna move out of the place and let her keep it?
I don't know. I'm not Columbo.
The only logical thing that I can think of is for her to move out of the condo and then to pay me some sort of a penalty.
What? Excuse me?
The plot made questions about love and romance fair game for Aniston, divorced from actor Brad Pitt and linked with Vaughn at the time of filming. She was asked by one reporter what makes a good relationship.
What makes for a good one? I would say as much good, honest communication as possible. And be yourself.
Is there a deal breaker? Is there anything I'll tear it down?
Lying.
Vaughn co-wrote the story that became the screenplay and was a producer on the movie. Aniston said Vaughn was a professional and never felt compromised as an actor during filming.
Can you give her a mustard, please? She's gonna need a mustard. Do you like mustard?
The breakup was shot in Chicago, a city which Aniston said she fell in love with.
You're the sweetest boy in Lake County.
I loved Wrigley Field, just because I love shooting in Wrigley Field, and that was fun. We had a lot of fun improvising. And I also loved the dinner scene.
Upon its release, nearly as much attention was given to the breakup star's off-screen relationship as the movie itself. In any case, make sure you catch it and see for yourself.
I'm going to be just a few more seconds, so just sit down.
And leave it on the field!
Do you mind if we finish the game? We got a real nail-biter going here.
Sure.
Tell Gary to call me.
I might actually lose him.
Go see Mishka, my personal waxer at the spa. Ask her for the Telly Savalas.
Who loves you, baby?
Time for a celebrity bite. And Vince Vaughn's father, Vernon, can be seen sitting at the $100 minimum bet table in Vince's 1996 movie, Swingers.
And now to Milan, where 70s glam rock was the order of the day for the Gucci girl. Designer Frida Giannini presented an autumn-winter collection that was awash with glitter, sequins, gold lame and silver studs with micro minis and graphic prints. This design was a standout on the catwalk. And this little purple dress certainly got some applause. David Bowie blared out as the models continued their stylish way down the catwalk. And trousers were either skin tight or so wide that they hit the model's shoes. Dresses were either ultra short or extremely long, and this one was a celebration in gold. Slinky metallic evening wear mixed it with little red dresses, tights and platform spikes. Furs were worn with metallic lurex minis as well as one-shouldered ruffle disco minis. Meanwhile, this creation was probably the most understated of them all. Frida Giannini was applauded for a collection that hugged back to the time when Tom Ford was at the Gucci helm.
The South Korean and Japanese co-production, The Host, is a comedy horror thriller directed by Bong Joon-ho, and it's had audiences jumping out of their seats. Central to the story is a mutant tadpole, and it's terrorising the area around Seoul's Han River, following the illegal dumping of aging formaldehyde into the city's water system. It's a gruesome, slimy, man-eating monster. The Host cost $10 million to make, a huge budget in local terms, and much of that was spent on the special effects, which were done by Kevin Rafferty of Star Wars fame. Producers of The Host, which has already enjoyed blood-curdling success in Southeast Asia, are hoping the film will be just as popular in the West. So if you're seriously into monster flicks, then you'd better make sure you see The Host.
경부고속도로에는 조금 교통량이 늘어서 서울 쪽으로 수원에서 죽전 휴게소까지 속도가 떨어지고 부산 방면.
Well, that's all we've got time for. See you next time on Showreel.